Good morning, family. It's your main man, Dr. Life, in the business of saving lives. Um, we're open, actively recruiting. This is a merger and acquisition. We have something to prove. We're here to prove that we have the only team on earth, that's fruitful, multiplying, replenishing the earth, and has dominion. And in January 2020, we want to show you the emerging markets that we're going to compete in to prove this to the world, and we're going to give our family an opportunity to showcase your raw talents. Bring your raw talents to the team and get a starting role. Now, I know you might think that's a major statement, but let me show it to you. Once again, our team, our business cycle, is the only business cycle in the world that's fruitful, multiplying, replenishing the earth, meaning recreating it and putting it back. And we got a role on the team for all of our family members who are assets. Manny, Jean Louis, yo, bro, we're gonna launch 2020. We're going to launch a hospital system. We're going to launch a hospital system, Manny, Jean Louis, you and I, your skills and abilities, and the wasted raw talent of the health message that individuals in our circles have squandered. And we're going to prove to the world that they've squandered it, they've wasted it. And we're launching, literally making the tangible investment to prove to the world individuals have been sitting and wasting raw talents. This is the business cycle that we have. Replenishment. That's what that word means. Take waste, flip it, reintroduce the original blueprint, the original procreation model, creation model, and produce fruit. All right, so I'm gonna get to it. First, I'm gonna show you the opposition. And I'm gonna show you how on the surface they make our people believe that this is fruitfulness. But I'm gonna take you up underneath the hood of every one of these nations, of every one of these individuals in our community that they show you. First, I'm gonna take you to Warren Buffett and Jay-Z sitting down with Forbes magazine. Then I'm gonna take you to Jay-Z's partnership in Brooklyn with a Russian billionaire claiming to bring jobs, opportunity into Brooklyn by replenishing and rejuvenating the Brooklyn Nets. And then we're going to look at their reality. And in 2020, we're launching a sports league, a recreational league, a pro recreational league. In all of the areas, especially in football. I'll show you why. Football. is number one. Football is the number one recreation because Europe can't reproduce it. Meaning all of the wealth that comes from football is welfare to Europeans. Yet, they won't hire black coaches. They can't reproduce it. Yet they have these families who own these teams in our leagues, and I'm going to show you that they're not fruitful because they are parasites cannibalizing our people, our communities, our wealth. And I'm going to take you to Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'm going to show you what Dr. Martin Luther King said, laid out the blueprint in '64, and they killed him for it. And exactly what he said we should be doing then, nobody in our circles has dared to do it. And I'm telling y'all, in 2020, me and my circle of brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers and cousins, we gonna do it. Whether y'all join us or not, it's completely up to you.
In this business, I mean, I've always said if you got an IQ of 160.
You rolling now? Yeah. Appreciate you.
Well, Jay and Warren, thank you very much for coming by, and thank you for the facilities, Warren. You two are unique, even though you're in different spheres. You've reached a level of success almost legendary. What did you do? What made you different? Warren, we'll start with you, because they're investing. There are a lot of bright people. They've all claimed to read Graham and Dodd. They all claim to be disciplined, and yet there's only one Warren Buffett.
Well, I was lucky that I got started early. I mean, it always helps to get started early, and my dad happened to be in the investment business, so I would go down to his office on Saturdays, and so at age probably 7 or something, I started reading these books that were around the place, and so I had a 15-year jump on many people in a sense, and that helped a lot, and I was always fascinated by it. I knew what I wanted to do early, and I think that's a huge advantage too. And then you don't need a lot of brains in this business. I mean, I've always said if you got an IQ of 160, give away 30 points to somebody else because you don't need it in investments. What you do need is emotional stability. You have to be able to think independently, and you have to be when you come to a conclusion, you have to really not care what other people say. And
all right, so we can demystify Warren Buffett. Y'all can stop idolizing and praising Warren Buffett, because he just revealed there's nothing special about Warren Buffett. When your ancestors came in and stole wealth, and when you at 7 years old have access to wealth because your father is a financial investor, no, what you have to give credit to is my grandfather, Frank E. Leggett Jr., who was born into poverty on Humboldt Street in Trenton, New Jersey, down the block from his future wife, my grandmother, Ora Leggett, Humboldt Street. When they got married, they started their family in Fraser Homes Projects in North Trenton, New Jersey. Across from, up the street from a barber and beauty salon that the same Ora Lillian Leggett, her 4 brothers, climbed up out of the poverty of Humboldt Avenue, married 3 sisters from the Ganges, and invested in a barber and beauty salon that's still today in Trenton, New Jersey, Mason's Barber and Beauty Salon. Richard Mason. Junior Mason, Henrietta Mason, Mary Mason. Across from a street, Monument Elementary School, where my father, Frank E. Leggett III, would go to school, in the projects in the hood of Trenton, New Jersey. And that grandfather, Frank E. Leggett Jr., climbed up out of the projects of Fraser Homes, working at General Motors, and then took and rerouted something that they've taken away from our community on purpose. I'm going to show it to you. Starting in the 90s, they outsourced every single factory, every single manufacturing job. They artificially manufactured poverty. And Warren Buffett got to sit in a lap of wealth, sit in the lap of a father who sat in a lap of wealth, who sat in a lap of wealth. That's not impressive. Frank E. Leggett Jr. going to General Motors and then starting L&W Enterprises, a real estate investment and contractor development company, and raised his family up out of the poverty of Fraser Homes. And what they've artificially done in the 70s and the 80s, you could do that. Starting in the 90s, they did something called globalization. And our families have made no adjustment. Our families still got the same whack old business model. Same whack advice for children. Like the digital age hasn't come. Like we still in the Henry Ford era. You could go to school, at high school, my grandfather could go to school and my father could go to school and come out of school with a skill in the trade and go right to work and become an apprentice as an electrician, as a carpenter, as a mechanic, as a welder. They stripped all of those skills from high school. They stripped all of the work, manufacturing work, from the whole country, Ohio, New Jersey, New York, Detroit, Chicago, all across the country, LA. Warren Buffett's not impressive. And individuals from our community, like Jay-Z, who's willing to give the welfare. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1964 told our community, yo, you are the 8th richest. This ain't what nobody else added into our community. This ain't Asians added in. This ain't South Americans added in. I'm just talking about those of us, people of color, providing welfare to the world. You're the 8th richest nation in the world. And if you pool your resources and stop he told you in 1964, stop being a welfare charity case to Europe. They are unfruitful is the message that Dr. Martin Luther King was telling you in 1964. You giving them a handout. They ain't fruitful. I'm going to show it to you. In this day, they've taken the charity handout from you and taken the ability for you to be fruitful and multiply, and we still fruitful. But we still handing it out. And then they can't even produce generational wealth. I don't care if I'm going to take you to China. I'm going to take you to Russia. I'm going to take you to London. I'm going to take you to Tokyo, Japan. I'm going to take you to every single last one of these countries. Poverty stricken. Been getting welfare and charity from us for 400 years. Poverty stricken. How? And if we simply turn off the welfare, turn off the charity, cut out the middleman, it should be no middleman between the least of these, our brothers, and the gifts No 501c3, no philanthropists. They don't have no philanthropists. You're the philanthropist. The wasted talent that you have, the wasted wealth that you have is the philanthropy of the world. There are no philanthropists. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, none of these clowns is philanthropists. Because everywhere their companies are is poverty, inequality gap. That isn't, listen. The Most High said, if you have charity and you have not love, you are like resounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. Love that doesn't produce fruitfulness is fake artificial charity. That is what the world has. So these are German companies, Adidas, who are harnessing the raw talents from our communities, the likenesses of individuals who are like Jay-Z, who are willing to come out, squander our talent, get them welfare, make them wealthy, and then they come back and they talk trash like they the creators. This is a commercial. Adidas making a commercial calling all creators. For real? And they set up shop in Brooklyn. Same place where Jay-Z partnered up with a Russian billionaire. Once again, we're going somewhere with this. Russian billionaire, Jay-Z, partner up, talk about they're going to build a brand new stadium. They built Barclays Stadium. Do y'all know that they build these stadiums taxing the same poverty-stricken workers that they throw out into the streets? They billionaires, huh? You got a billionaire, huh? Why you need taxes? Why you need to build Barclays Arena with taxes? Meaning, all of these NFL stadiums, all of these NBA massive stadiums in your neighborhoods, you pay for them. Same ones that they calling animals and throwing out in the streets, raising rents on, you built them. You paid for them. That's the definition of unfruitfulness. That's the definition of theft. These same billionaires use tax shelters and offshore havens not to pay taxes, and then they take taxes from the least of these among us, rake in obscene amounts of wealth, and then in the same neighborhood, gonna sit in our neighborhood and talk about calling all creators, set up shop in Brooklyn, and they gentrifying Brooklyn and turning Brooklyn into Little Russia and Little London, and Jay-Z putting his face on it.
Every day's a chance to flip the script. An invitation to take everything we know and reinvent it. Do it better.
A chance to flip the script. In another video, I'm gonna get into Hollywood, and I'm gonna show you every Hollywood picture. Most Hollywood pictures are taken straight out of the Word of God. And Greece and Rome are known for what's called a Hellenistic period, meaning they rewrite history. They take history and they lie and they retake it, and they, Fox News. It's Fox News. The Golden Child. At the end of the year, we're going to invite all of our Hollywood stars who respond to join this team in the beginning of the year. We're going to have every year a Hollywood Fashion Week. And during Hollywood Fashion Week, one day we're going to do a film festival. Because we're taking the films that they've taken and they've rewritten and they've Hellenized and they've revised history. And we're going to shoot the right script. But that's called sticking to the script. But if you heard him, he said, we want to flip the script. That's Hellenism. That's revision. That's where they take you out and they put the lost all throughout Scripture. Star Wars. The 300. The Golden Child. I'm going to take you to each one of these films and I'm going to take you where they took it out of the Word of God and how they revised it and they put themselves as victor. All Hollywood is doing is selling you a narrative of them being a victor and you being a loser. Because the Word said, by beholding, you become changed. By beholding, you become changed. So when you keep beholding a program that says, we're the victor, you're the loser, then our people have accepted a loser role. Our people have accepted not dominating, being unfruitful, allowing Caesar to tax you, allow the banks to debt enslave you, allowing fake, phony philanthropists to do charity when you've been called to do unto the least of these your brother, to prove that you've given glory to the King. Because as you've done it unto the least of these my brother, and you've done it unto me. You can't let no middleman do that work that you're supposed to do to prove that you got one love to the King. Flip the script.
It takes courage. It's an obsession. Never settling for just good enough. It takes a true creator to make something out of nothing.
It takes a true creator to make something out of nothing. Your creator ain't a true creator. We the true creators, says Adidas. Mind you, this is a German company formed during the Hitler Nazi regime. True creators. It takes a true creator to make something out of nothing. Calling all creators, all true creators. Your creator is a fake creator. He can't make nothing out of something out of nothing. So we're gonna go check their fruit. Let's see what they have created in Brooklyn. Let's see the fruitfulness.
It takes guts. Calling all creators. Those who see obstacles as a chance to win bigger. Calling all creators. The game changers. The difference makers. The boundary breakers. The tomorrow takers.
Game changers. Boundary breakers. That's the law. Breakers of the law. Boundary breakers. Tomorrow takers. We taking your American dream. Tomorrow takers. You don't got no tomorrow. I'm a parasite on your tomorrow.
Calling all creators. Get up. And then adapt. Write new rules.
Write new rules.
Calling all creators.
Write new rules.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. There is nothing new under the sun. Every line, yo, every line is a challenge and a slap and demands a response. Every single line is a violation. Every line demands that it's time to suit up. Every line is a challenge. And the reason there's poverty is because it's going unchecked. It is unnatural to let them come. Throw down the gauntlet, challenge. This Goliath. This Goliath. And all it takes is for some people after God's own heart to step up and be like, I don't need no army. I don't need no shield. I don't need no helmet. I don't need your spear, Saul. I don't need nothing from you, Saul. Because the first thing is, you and I don't have the same spirit. I don't need nothing from you. You sitting on the sideline shook while they talking trash against the Most High Kingdom. You shook. I don't need nothing from you. We don't got the same spirit. All I need is that same spirit that allowed me to destroy a lion when it tried to attack this flock that the king gave me. All I need is that same spirit that allowed me to destroy a bear when it tried to attack this flock. Do y'all know the Most High has given us a flock? Do y'all know that we've been destroying every single attack? We've been destroying every single attack. And now when it's game time, now when it's time to go pro, we salivating. While all these other people is running around here shook. All we here to say is, yo, we could do it better. No, all we here to say is we the only ones that could do it. This ain't prosperity. Let me show you what Brooklyn looked like. So Adidas, a Russian billionaire, a brand new stadium. So Brooklyn's supposed to be thriving with prosperity, right? We talking about fruitfulness here, y'all. Supposedly the king of New York, when it comes to rap, was the ambassador for the city that they put this enterprise in for. And I'm going to prove to you today that you have been exploited by individuals from your community like Jay-Z to be the welfare of the world. Straight handouts. They tax you. What they're doing to our football players is an affront before God in the NFL. What they do to our football players in the NFL, get them to break their bodies up. It has the greatest fan base of any sport in the world, yet when you look on the list of the top 50 highest played, you got baseball players. They are subsidizing baseball. Baseball is a welfare recipient. $250 million guaranteed contracts. Baseball would have disappeared already. They give them clowns $250 million contracts for 10 years and guarantee it. And even if they never ever hit another home run, they get all of the $250 million. Yet, no NFL player contract is guaranteed, except maybe the top 10 first-round draft picks. Everybody else get hurt. come into camp and have a bad preseason, they'll cut you in the second year of a $60 million contract that you only got $1.5 million out of for the first season. Show up to camp and let somebody else take the spot. If they cut you, you don't get none of that $60 million. The greatest fan base, the greatest TV endorsements, that is straight welfare for every one of the owners of an NFL team. They have been getting welfare and paying poverty wages in the most lucrative sport on the planet. And in every last one of our hoods, we the best in the world. European, nowhere else in the world can they even play the sport. I got nephews right now. When we turn on the cameras on these boys, we're going to leave their coaches the same. Us. The NFL won't hire no black coaches. All right. We just going to turn on the cameras. And we're going to reroute the welfare that we're giving to them for nothing. And we reinvesting it. That's all we doing. No more handouts. You got to compete to get anything out of our community. Because the moment I pay all of my nephews and everybody, and when the world sees that their product is just as thorough as the free product that they put on in high school football, but the moment I pay them NCAA, either they got to change their model and pay all our brothers and sisters out there, or they got to go and get the second best talent, because we're going to pay all of the first best. They got a choice to make. You got a choice to make. Stop wasting that talent. We got cameras. You already training them. You already got them playing. Who the heck you know throw away the sports industry stats? The global sports industry is a $1.5 trillion industry. Who you know throw away $1.5 trillion? Come on, y'all. 498 billion in just the US market alone. 498 billion. Baseball ain't generating that. That's college football, college basketball, NBA, NFL. Our sons, us. $498 billion, $500 billion. Not near one of our cities should be poverty. And then the Germans, the Adolf Hitler Germans, got a nerve to come and talk about calling all creators. Jesse Owens already, same time Dr. Martin Luther King was trying to tell y'all to stop giving them welfare, Jesse Owens went out to Hitler in his face. Oh, you superior? Get on the starting block then. Put your best Aryan on the starting block, homie. In front of the world. Let's go. Wilma Rudolph did the same thing in the 60s in front of the Pope in Italy. The one who divided this slavery system up between the Portuguese and the Spanish. Put your Germans, put your Portuguese, put your Spanish, put your Italians, put your British. Let's go. Get them on the line. Jesse Owens, Wilma Rudolph. Oh, we already done closed, shut this down. 30s and the 60s. We still giving away the free handout? Let's see what they doing with it. Let's see what they're doing with it.
Open to talk about basketball and his political future in Russia. Here's your team, playing the NBA champions 2 years in a row. 3 years after purchasing the New Jersey Nets, the worst franchise in the NBA, Russian billionaire Mikhail Prokhorov likes what he sees from his new Brooklyn Nets. What's your dream, that you can do this in 5 years, an NBA championship?
Just when I came here, I promised to be a champion within 5 years.
Once again, nowhere in the world are they creating wealth. You know how he became a billionaire? In the same 90s. Where they started extracting wealth from the U.S. called globalization and sending it all throughout the world. Everything made in Taiwan, made in China. That means we are shipping the manufacturing base. No, if you're not a producer, you're an exclusive consumer. And if all you do is consume, you're a slave. But in Russia in the 90s, when the Russian president stepped down and gave y'all, Boris Yeltsin steps down and gave you the current Russian president, they switched from straight up communism to communism / privatization and Western financial system, which means Russia, the government, owned all of the assets, and then they took like 10 to 20 individuals and said, okay, we're not going to be communists no more. We're going to get into the same corporate globalization game with the U.S. sending out the wealth to all of the world. Okay, we're going to change to that structure so we can collect in this welfare system. And they literally broke up the wealth that all of the government had and dispersed it between those who are overnight. They made billionaires overnight that was loyal to Vladimir Putin. They give Mikhail Prokhorov a diamond mining operation. Overnight, you go from, just because you're willing to do the dirty work of the head man, you're a billionaire. We supposed to celebrate you? I'm supposed to acknowledge that? When on the flip side, my images. You have no Polo Ralph Lauren without my image. You have no Gucci. You have no Louis Vuitton. You have no Nike without the NBA and the NFL. You have no Adidas. You have no Puma. Name one brand that these images have not launched. Then you show me one reverse where a European company has launched over there and we, because of their images, is consuming it. You show me one entity that they got that is not where it is off of handouts and welfare that we have given them. Show me one. Show me one. The television networks and all of that, they are where they are because of a NCAA slave plantation system off of football and basketball. Nowhere else in the world. They got colleges all over the world. Why they don't have the same sporting setup in the Middle East, in Asia? Because they don't have the best in the world. Welfare, handouts, programmed to waste and squander the wealth. And all we got to do is dump it in our hood, dump it on our brothers and sisters. Who created the best in the world? Who trained them? Dump it in our mothers, who getting these babies up and making them go and shoot jump shots.
Stadium fine.
I'm just giving y'all the math that's out there. There's no reason why our people should be in this stupor branded like we don't have no options. And then I'm gonna show you how in each one of these things, I'm showing you what they doing with it, and I'm showing you what the city look like. Then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show you the teams that we put together. And then I'm gonna show you how we've been taking our players on the teams we play for. I'm gonna show you the investors who invested in our teams and our leagues to put us in a position to be able to do that. And I'm gonna show you what's the difference between those investors and these league owners. Hold up, my battery trying to die. All right. Let's go.
Stadium finance experts say.
Did y'all know that they tax the citizens in the state to build the stadium for the teams? They billionaires. They make $2 billion in profit every year. Why do you need to be taxed in payroll tax to pay for a stadium?
Well, I think the important thing that we've forgotten is what is the purpose of the government? We have constant water main breaks, the roads are in terrible shape, and then we're going to...
So in Flint, Michigan, they got people drinking water with lead in it. They got babies dying, being poisoned. They made the U.S. a laughing stock in the world when it comes to high-speed rail. All over, everywhere else, they boast of high-speed rail. They are artificially manufacturing poverty. They are artificially putting other nations in position to thrive and artificially undercutting you. So if they're not going to invest and you're not going to invest in yourself, at some point, what happens? They come out of the closet and they show their true colors. And because they've been devouring you all of this time, when they come out, listen, you're not in no position to defend yourself. You're not in no position. But see, when you've been investing, when you've been building the whole time, then you can tell them, listen, you can't tell me what we do on these highways. You can't tell us what we do in these stadiums that we built. You can't tell us what we do in this high-speed rail location that we put together to connect the cities in which we are launching our pro teams to show y'all exactly that we could do it way better than this. That's all we stating. We like, y'all call this pro? Y'all call this wealth? Y'all call this investment? Most of all, y'all call this fruitfulness? Y'all call this prosperity? No, I call this thieves. More importantly, the Most High calls it thieves. The thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And all they are doing is proving we the thieves that the word has labeled. But our people have been trained to be fans. Nah, you can't be a fan no more. You got to be an owner and be a fan of the team that we own. How about that? We put the teams, football, basketball, track and field, volleyball, boxing, together in all of the cities that we control. Trenton, Brooklyn, Chicago, Orlando, Miami, Detroit, Arizona, LA, Compton, San Francisco. We in every major city, in every major hood, but we just gonna start with 12 right now. We in all of them. And just like the NFL did, every couple years we're gonna expand. You wanna cheer and celebrate football? All right, own football. Then celebrate it. And from the profits, don't celebrate no philanthropists. You go give to the least of these, our brethren, out of the profits from the league that we all invest in. You want to acknowledge some charity? Own the charity yourself. Cut out the middleman. You want to support basketball? Own the teams. So we know it's being done right. Everything else is this.
Give money so a bunch of corporate executives can watch a football game 8 times a year. It's absurd.
This day people telling you.
After 20 years of being a football wasteland, Los Angeles is one step closer to bringing back the NFL.
The Inglewood City Council voted 5-0 to approve this massive stadium project, $2 billion, 80,000 seat NFL stadium.
Supporters say this will bring 10,000 jobs and tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue.
The deal that's been offered to the city, this is financial arrangement, is the best financial arrangement in the history of stadium deals in this country.
Developers of the Inglewood project plan to finance the new $1.8 billion stadium entirely with private funds, a deal that would be great for the city and an oddity in the sports world where most facilities require millions in public dollars to be built. But the Inglewood deal hasn't stopped other localities from aggressively pursuing new stadium projects with public money. If anything, the likelihood of a new facility in Los Angeles has created a bidding war between cities hoping to attract or keep sports franchises in their part of town.
All right, so because LA with private money, if you're a billionaire, everywhere else, if we start a business, the government not going to give you no money to rake in billions of dollars. No, you got to go dig down in your pocket, save, get your credit together. You got to go into debt. And then you got to invest. And you got to take a risk of losing your money. But these NFL owners, now the project in LA is going to be done the right way with private funds. But it's 4 other cities and 4 other teams that know if they get a new stadium, we got to upgrade ours. So it has caused the other teams who already have pro teams in California, and they ain't doing it with private money. So all over California, 4 and 5 different other pro teams is going to the state, getting public money. That means the state is going to tax the citizens to rebuild and renovate, and none of the people is going to benefit from the renovation. Oh, they tell you that it's going to bring jobs to the city. Brooklyn ain't see none of them jobs. Not our people in Brooklyn. Oh, the Russians that came with the billionaire, oh, they seen jobs. Oh, the British that Jay-Z always props up. Def Jam is nothing but 2 British henchmen devouring our communities. Rick Rubin and Lawyer Cohen. Lawyer Cohen, the cousin to Donald Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen. 2 British henchmen. That's all Jay-Z's job is to fill the coffers like all of the minstrel age performers of old. He is the current generation of the minstrel age. Off the backs of our
Take
people.
St. Louis. The city is proposing to fork out $400 million in tax dollars to build a new $1 billion waterfront stadium to keep the Rams from leaving.
400 million off of the backs of the poorest in St. Louis.
With the threat of another team on their home turf, the Chargers and Raiders want to turn this stinky old garbage dump into a brand new $1.7 billion stadium in Carson.
The Chargers and the Raiders, tax dollars.
California. While details of the plan have yet to be released, it's been reported that the financing would be similar to the 49ers Stadium in Santa Clara, which was fronted $621 million in construction loans paid for with public money. Even the union-busting fiscal conservative Scott Walker is not immune to the stadium craze. The Wisconsin governor wants to allocate
There it is,
$220 million in
the culture vulture. The culture vulture, Lawyer Cohen. From California, too. See, listen, man. Y'all didn't listen to Dr. Martin Luther King. He tried to tell y'all. See that hippie era? This is where all of this trash started. That hippie era. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. Bring down the morals and the character with drugs and sex. And when y'all get loose, we're gonna gobble up all of the resources. Liar Cohen. Now watch this. Let's look at Brooklyn and let's look at LA. These places where they're taking tax dollars to build the Barclays Center and all of these stinking old garbage dumps in LA. Now let's go look and see what they did to our people who they trying to tell you we're going to bring jobs to the city. Let's go see what these same billionaires is doing to our people. And if you don't think that we could do a better job at replenishment than this, something is really wrong with my people. If you don't think I'm gonna show you why I spoke about Warren Buffett too.
Wait till you see what they're doing in New York, yo. Wait till y'all see. Here go New York. Here go New York. Here go New York. Remember, Jay-Z claims.
Forces that are displacing.
Remember, Jay-Z claims to be king of New York. Jay-Z put his face on the Brooklyn Nets. Jay-Z then goes out and sits down with Roger Goodell and brokers a deal to be the culture vulture for the NFL. He is the face of culture vulture in the NFL with Roger Goodell. First he started with the NBA. Now he's culture vulturing with the NFL. He's been a culture vulture for Def Jams, Rick Rubin and Laura Cohen, the ones who have run the minstrel age, blackface, minstrel era, called Def Jam, now called Live Nation and Rock Nation. If y'all don't know what the blackface minstrel era is, it's where they created all of the negative stereotypes of the buck and the mammy. The buck was big, burly, black slave who wants to rape white women. The Sambo. The images of Sambo was created out of the blackface minstrel era. And black people got up on stage and performed to cement the images that they sold around the world. Minstrel age era, the minstrel era, blackface era didn't end, just like apartheid never ended. Oh snap. Alright, let me hit connection. This New York, king of New York.
Thousands from their homes. We're on our way to the South Bronx, to New York's only intake center for homeless families. More than 70% of people in the city's shelters are families with children.
Homelessness is so complicated. It's not just this guy on the street with that shopping cart. And it isn't just this one person who made the wrong choice or had bad luck.
To apply for shelter, a family must first come to this building, known as PAP. Journalists are not allowed inside.
We've been here just a few hours and there's been dozens of families coming in. It's been really shocking. It's a lot of young children and a lot of working parents trying to make it.
A lot of working parents.
What's it like in there?
It's not what people think. People in there, everyday people. I don't judge people because you never know the situation you'll be in.
A lot of working parents.
My salary, I get paid $9 an hour. So you do that.
How did you know about the PAP Center?
I Googled it.
I work. I get paid $9 an hour.
I Googled it.
Is this your first time in the shelter system?
Yeah.
And what's this little guy's name?
This is Josiah, bro. Say hi, Josiah.
Hi, Josiah. How old are you, Josiah? 3. So where are you sleeping? Where are you staying these days?
Man, wherever they place, you come in, they'll put you in a 10-day placement, and then they'll be like, okay.
So I don't have time to play it all, but, and y'all know Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump, made his family millions being a slumlord in Brooklyn, in Queens. Slumlord. This is 3rd generation Fred Trump. 3rd generation Fred Trump. Fruitfulness. He's the man of God. says the evangelical Christian right. God sent him for this particular hour. His grandfather did the same thing in California, but with brothels to service the gold rush. Brothel slumlord during the gold rush in California, great-grandfather Trump, then gives the initial money for Fred Trump to become a slumlord in New York. So the third generation slumlord can go into the presidency. And why are working people out in the streets? Because these slumlords are raising rents, putting people out on the street, then converting the buildings to yuppie, upper class, high upper class income dwellings. And the only thing wrong with this business model is the individuals who are supposed to be replenishing the earth, the business cycle of replenishment is not being applied. We have an unlimited source of a gold mine of raw talent individuals that generate $498 billion in the sports industry, in the fashion industry. The global apparel market is $3 trillion. I just told you the top apparel leading: Gucci, Polo, the lowlifes out of Brooklyn and Trenton created a $1 billion company for Ralph Lauren. Timberland, we made Timberland what it is. Guess, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Without our images, don't happen. Nike, Adidas. We were sneakerheads before Nike went and got Jordan. We were sneakerheads. We taught them the sneakerhead culture. Customs, we don't have culture. We was the fashion gurus of the world before they even had a fashion identity in so-called rap. They tried to give us Houdini and we gave them back the Houdini trash. We ain't on that. This ain't George Clinton in the parliament. Crazy? We the greatest of the kings of the East. You don't tell us. We tell y'all what fashion is. We ain't on that garbage. Houdini? Get out of here. Hawaiian Sophie shirts? Get out of here, Jay. We ain't on that. We made Adidas fashionable. We also made Kangos and Gazelles fashionable. We also made Lee jeans fashionable. Levi's 501. There ain't no fashion without us. Then they come around here and they do Fashion Week. So I'm just trying to tell y'all, 2020 and beyond every year, December the 8th through December the 16th, Hollywood Fashion Week every year. For those of us who join this team and who become the supermodels, who launch these brands, these labels, London Fashion Week, Tokyo Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. Yeah, all right. Hollywood Fashion Week. Here on out. think I'm lying? The fashion launching hip hop movement is the low life movement, is us. We wrote the blueprint for launching hip hop fashion in our generation during this movement right here. The blueprint for launching global fashion brands, we did it.
You know, I just do the clothes that I really love. It's about, I always say, an American sensibility of class and quality.
Once again, another German.
Yo, this is for the live Puerto Rock with a fishy style, thoroughbred status. Yo, what's my nationality? Puerto Rican.
There is no global fashion branding without this movement.
Who came together for surviving in the street, to eat, to dress, and for drama,
None. Zero. Europe never had a global fashion brand. Never.
Before there was low life, there was polo cliques out there. The Ralphie's kids. They were from St. John's in Utica and Crown Heights. Those were the official Ralphie kids. And in Marcus Garvey Village in Brownsville, there was the motherfucking Polo USA.
Pardon the
United
language.
Shoplifters Assembly. You know what I'm saying? United Shoplifters Association. In '88, we combined. Rack Low was one of the main reasons.
Oh, so what is he telling you? He talking about professional leagues. We would compete. And the NBA took this same model. You had the ABA and the NBA during the same time. And they came together and they combined. The NFL did the same thing. Using the model of how to brand that they got off of the streets. The dopest thing about the low life movement is it ain't started in Brooklyn. Our creator did the very first low life fashion tailor fitting in the Garden of Eden. When the enemy tried to attack his child, he put on, took them fig leaves off. Because he like, I'm going to rock this brand. I'm going to put on the lamb. He said, I thought it not robbery to put on your form. I thought it not robbery. The low life movement was about robbing these cats who were stealing our identity and profited off of it, but then telling us they don't want us to wear the clothing. I thought it not robbery. I don't consider that robbery. It's mine. I don't consider it robbery turning over the tables of the money changers. He was made a little lower than the angels. We have been made a little lower. The low life movement was just an extension of the original man and woman turning over the tables of the money changers, trying to exploit, profit, and enslave at the same time. We the continuation of the low life movement. So let me tell y'all what the plan is. This is the plan. This is what we have done. We taking millionaire makers.
Hey everybody, just caught up with double platinum senior vice president, Miss Millionaire Maker herself. Hey, getting ready, headed to Baton Rouge, Louisiana at the end of the month. Miss Cloud, can you share a couple words with the family in Baton Rouge?
Absolutely. Hello, Baton Rouge. I cannot wait to come and see you on the 27th. I'm telling you, if you guys are ready for a new level of success, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, you're tired of having more month than you have money, you need to be at this wealth empowerment seminar that we're doing. In 9 years, I've helped 12 people become documented millionaires and dozens of people to earn 5-figure incomes a month, including Mr. Harvey, who's going to be there speaking with me. So if you guys are looking for a vehicle to get to the life of your dreams.
All right, so listen. Here go Brooklyn's finest. These are all individuals, high net worth individuals from all over the country who we joined up on a team with to be able to teach our community that the only people in the world who are fruitful and multiplying, and when I tell you all what sets these individuals apart, and the reason why I joined these individuals in taking economic empowerment to the masses is because of the statement of how they made their wealth. By breaking bread with the masses and giving the masses opportunities to the blueprint of how to be fruitful and multiply, which is the opposite of these entities cannibalizing our communities. If the NFL and the NBA took every person that they recruited and taught them the blueprint to economic empowerment and generational prosperity like these individuals do. Every individual that they recruit, they give the blueprint to prosperity to. How do you recruit someone to extract and not invest? How do you recruit someone? And when I show you the paycheck of the NFL players, the NBA players, I think it's the NBA player. No, it's a Major League Baseball player. The welfare system. And when you see that they tax them up to 48%. So once again, not only is the state and these leagues and the government taxing the people to build these leagues, 48% of the income, just like lottery earners. Y'all know when people hit the lottery, so y'all be running around here talking like these NFL players is making money. If he made $400,000 and they take 48% for taxes, yo, this dude is broke. And don't let him get hurt, because his contract ain't guaranteed. 48% of their check is taxed. This is a welfare state for Europeans. Welfare state. And all y'all got to do is turn off the welfare. And I'm showing you individuals who have come from regular walks of life, but because they've taken the approach, if I'm going to go into business, I'm going to show you how to go into business, and I'm going to give you a blueprint, and we as a team collectively, we are going to build a business together. And my family is only going to thrive when I help you put food on your table. Oh, that's the team that I sign up for any day, all day, every day. And now, in a time where The US dollar is under threat. Now I'm turning back to these individuals and I'm saying, the place to shelter your money, in the emerging market to shelter your money in, is in our people. The guaranteed return is in our people that have produced the wealth for the world. This is the emerging market. These leagues are the safe haven to weather any financial storm. If you want a guaranteed return on investment, sink some bread with us into some individuals whose talent is being wasted, and watch the crime rates in your neighborhoods and your communities disappear. Watch the economy in your communities come back. You see mothers and people going to homeless shelters, but what do they got with them? The same babies. That's the best in the world at football and basketball. That's called wasted talent. Now, when you put that family on payroll, the daddy on family to coach, the mom on payroll as a designer of the uniforms, the children on payroll playing, the other child on payroll in the Media Arts Mentoring Academy around the broadcast station rival to ESPN that we're launching, the network where all of the games that we compete in across the country and around the world will be broadcast from. There's no wasted raw talent, nowhere. And if we just cut off the welfare and reinvested in, I got nephews all over the country dominating in football, dominating in basketball, daughters dominating in volleyball. Do y'all know that the WNBA got a cap? They can't, listen, starting salary in the WNBA, $40,000. The highest paid player in the WNBA, $108,000. Yo, 2020, by the end of 2020, we'll have a women's basketball league. All y'all college female basketball players, all y'all professional level basketball players, minimum $1 million salary. Minimum. Every last European league, female league, will be shut down. WNBA out of here. $40,000. Y'all gonna subsidize some clowns to build stadiums. But our daughters, who the best in the world at basketball, y'all gonna give them chump change? And then make them have to go over to Europe? The European leagues is paying more money than the WNBA. Because these clowns is subsidizing and giving welfare to cats who make in our communities slums. They done giving you a market. Here my man from Brooklyn.
Where he's from. Also wanted.
My girl. Multi-million-dollar annual. Started off single parent mama. From Baltimore. Y'all ain't got no excuse. This is what happens when you invest in your people. This is what happens when you replenish the earth by following our blueprint that we have been given. You don't make your wealth at the expense of your people. You make your wealth by creating a team, and we all invest together, and we all share a blueprint. I'm showing you people from the hood that did it. And now we reaching right back out to our people They needed the #1 inspirational, motivational firecracker in the world. And I gave them access to the #1 inspirational, motivational firecracker in the world. To be able to guarantee that the team that they put together touched the success that they told them that they could achieve if they followed the blueprint. All they needed was a little bit of inspiration to get them across the line. So we got a formula in place. And if we all just follow the model that our people are doing, that nobody else is doing anywhere in the world. Going to the least of these saying, listen, I came from where you came from. I got a blueprint. There is a market for this commodity or this thing. I'm going to show you this blueprint. I'm putting together a team. And if you want to run with me, and I got some inspiration that came out of the hood, that's going to take away every excuse. Because if you ain't homeless, eating out of trash cans, if you ain't in poverty, if you ain't living on the streets, then you in a better situation than this inspirational source was. So you don't have no excuse. I don't care how little you make it, if you're not eating out of trash cans, then you should be willing to run with this investment that I'm going to put into you and with this blueprint. All you got to do is put forth 120% effort. And what little 2 mics that you got to contribute to the investment that I'm putting on the table. I ain't asking you to do nothing I ain't doing. When we come and we say, yo, break bread, yo. Y'all see our track record. We've been breaking bread since Huntsville, since Chicago. We ain't saying break bread in us because we want your bread. We saying break bread so that your children and your children's children can eat forever and own every street and every block and every corner that we walk down. Oh yes, there's some breaking bread that needs to be done. Why? Because when you let them break bread, they own it. But when we break bread, we own it. Yeah, you got to break some bread. You breaking bread anyway. You breaking bread. You wasting talents and resources. And you wasting access to bread that cats don't have nowhere else. That's why it's about to come crumbling down. Cats in Nigeria wish they had the opportunity to have access to individuals like this. Wish they had the opportunity to even have access to the $9 an hour that our people had. Okay, you got $9 an hour. Well, we got somebody who was a single parent mama on the same salary, and all she did was apply a blueprint, a financial blueprint, and we got a spot on this team. Can you follow instructions? Can you follow a successful model? Individuals in Kenya would die to have access to these individuals who exist here all around this country. But because the European has told us and our parents that there is a way, there is a system in place. That's all we know. And if that system don't never ever bring prosperity for our people, when do our people stop and do something different? I'm going to show you an army of individuals who we run with, been running with. 2014, 2015. I done seen these dudes make $90,000 in a month. Off after the last recession. I'm talking about individuals who lost it all. An attorney in Maryland had lost it all. Real estate downturn. And after the real estate down, once again, you ain't got no excuse. I don't care where you are financially. My man grinded after 2009 and went all over this country finding individuals who was tired of hurting, who needed some options, who was willing to follow some instructions and join a team. And I seen the man generate $60 grand a month, 70 grand a month, 80 grand a month, 90 grand a month. Now we turn it back and we like, listen, man. Even if you got 90 grand a month, if it's in US dollars, yo, if you don't find a safe haven to move that bread to, this goes for anybody in the US right now. The next downturn that's coming is going to be right at the neck of the US dollar, which means you got to be in the other foreign exchanges. We own the oldest commodity of foreign exchange ever created. That's the covenant of our family. It is foreign to this world. It is the greatest deposit. And if we just treated the family with the value, like when I seen my brothers in Chicago, we was hooping at Ninth Park, destroying the tournament. We was killing the tournament in basketball in Ninth Park in Chicago, 11th Park in Chicago, killing the tournament. Then I look at this league, this Pro-Am league that our church was playing in, and I'm looking at the dudes that I'm playing every summer with, and I'm like, yo, these cats will get up off these streets. These cats will get up off these streets. If we give them access to a business model, my man gave me dry washing guard. My man taught me how to detail cars in college. And we give them a outlet to make some bread. And then we let them put their talent and showcase their talent. They'll get up off the streets. We got to change our perspective about our people. And we got to break bread. And Danka from Maywood, one of my shorties on the junior team, has taken that same model to the Boys and Girls Club that didn't even exist before we started doing it. And he been right now running. I don't know if he's still doing it. Last time I was at the crib, he run the whole operation for the rec center. The leagues that run out of there, everything. Just looking at our community different. And so now we saying the same thing. We say, yo, we're not doing this for fun no more. We ain't just doing this to get cats off the street. No, we're going to do this to show the world that we got the best business model. We got the only business model. We going to compete with New York Fashion Week. We going to compete with the NFL and the NBA. We could do it better. We're going to compete with the WNBA for our daughters. We could do it better. I coach my wife and Natola. Only 2 girls on the basketball team who had played before, and then took 10 other individuals and put them around my wife, and we won championship after championship. I got the jersey on right now. WNBA, you paying girls that done went to college and dominated in college $40,000? You disrespect. All right, you just begging me to come and kick your back in and show you how to do it. So let's go, family. I don't care if you got $1,000. I don't care if you got $20,000. I don't care if you got $2 million. We sitting at the table, and everybody gonna get an equal share in the ownership of the conglomerate of the leagues in your city. And we gonna chop up the profits 25%, 25%, 25%. And we're going to have other separate pools of money that automatically reinvest in the future generations to guarantee the pay scale never drops, to guarantee that the pipeline always comes in, to guarantee that the broadcast and the network and the quality of the producers who are doing the film and who are doing the commentating and who are streaming, that we can launch and roll out. ESPN got a network? That ain't nothing. Howard Cosell used to broadcast A Wide World of Sports. But because they don't know how to groom, they only know how to extract and destroy. There's no wild world of recreation network. You looking at it. You could be a stakeholder in the exclusive Wide World Recreation Network and rake in your share of $36 trillion annual revenue that's squandered and wasted. That's how big the pool is outside of the 1% that they're generating $12 trillion off of. They're generating $12 trillion annual revenue off of 1% of our community, y'all. If that ain't waste, 1% of the athletes make up the NBA, the NFL. 1% of actors make up Hollywood. You mean to tell me we got 98% of our community to go and invest in and create triple? That's exactly what I'm telling y'all. And y'all got until January the 31st to claim your seat at this ownership table and put your portion into the pot that we have invested in. We ain't asking you to do nothing we ain't doing and ain't gonna continue to do. But they're investing in robbing our community. Someone has to compete to take away the ownership title. When you purchase it, you own it. Right now, they are declaring this is how we gonna come into your neighborhood and because we have not come to the table as a purchasing block and taken our people off the market.
To find out, like, what are some of the things that he did
They have.
when he first got started before he was an entrepreneur. I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a success coach. My name is Double Platinum Senior Vice President, Tashina Tucker. After being in network marketing for 6 years, a lot of what I do is I help other people to build their business. Welcome to the world of success.
A lot of what I do is I help other people to build their business.
I really wanted to get into the details of how his life was. We started off by going to when Dave grew up. Good. So what were you like as a child? Were you quiet? You rambunctious? What were you like?
Oh, I was never quiet.
No?
I think you can tell.
All right, so once again, I can't play the whole joint. But this man is the only person who can put an IHOP in all of Brooklyn. That was his initial foray into business. The #1 producing IHOP in Brooklyn earned him exclusive right to all of Brooklyn to be able to build IHOPs. Nobody else could put an IHOP in Brooklyn except him and his wife. He has since, unfortunately, passed prostate cancer. But his wife, just like the phenomenal young lady interviewing him, partners in making this family said, yo, I can't make millionaires off of my IHOP business. I can make millions off my IHOP business. But my Rockefeller money, this is what this man's wife said. My Rockefeller money is in this other team business where I'm creating millionaires by partnering with me and applying the same principles that I apply to my brick and mortar. Rolling out IHOPs, roll out this team. All we doing, we telling our people, yo, the asset and the commodity, it doesn't matter what the asset and commodity is. When you got this business plan in place, all you need is a commodity that generates profits. And all you got to do is take your same team of multimillionaires that you've created and your same business model, and we're saying Snoop over in LA created a youth football league, and he went to his people who hadn't created multimillionaires, and he raised $1 million and he started a youth football league where the kids ain't get nothing, and he got a TV deal out of it with Netflix. This is what AAU has done to your kids. This is what the NFL has done to your kids. This is what Snoop has done to your kids. We are the ones coming and saying, listen, we have been investing in other companies. We have been collectively building teams and creating millionaires by investing in other commodities. I am simply bringing to you the most valuable commodity the earth has ever seen. Us and our children. We're going to raise 4 times what Snoop raised. We're going to raise $4 million because we launching 8 to 12 different localities. He launched one locality. We launching 8 to 12 different localities. So we're going to raise some more money. But we got a bigger pot. And we got the best business model ever. And so what we also doing is we coming to our people. My brothers and sisters that I grew up in the streets with. My brothers and sisters that every person who I ever played ball with, every person who has ever been in one of our mentoring programs, every person who I done went to school with, every person that I sat down at the table and we supped with, every person that we done raised children with. I'm coming and I'm saying, listen, just like these individuals have taken our people with a commodity and and a business model and launched millionaires, I'm giving y'all an opportunity to simply just bring those babies who are the commodity that we want to invest in. Bring those babies to the table. We're going to give y'all the same business model. Break bread and invest in your own children, and you sit at the table as the owner of your child's league. And we're going to do this until the Creator crack the sky. And we're going to hand this thing down just like the NFL and NBA owners hand it down today. Non-football playing, non-basketball playing, non-skill, non-nothing. welfare recipient children, undeserving of anything. But when we hand ours down, we're going to hand ours down to the individuals who done won, who done made the Hall of Fame in our leagues. How you an NFL player play in the Hall of Fame and you can't get a coaching job? How the faces of the coaches and the staff in the league is not reversed. It should be 85% the individuals who played and dominated, and 15% coaching, special teams, because they kickers, coaching, offensive line. Y'all got a couple offensive players in there, offensive linemen. Y'all got a couple people here and there. And that's exactly what our league's going to look like. Those who earn the right, those who generate the wealth, those who dominate, own the wealth. $2 million earner, business partner on the team, giving his blueprint.
Put the actions in. You got to do the work. Whatever the work is, you got to put the work in.
Right out of Tampa, telling our people, listen, man, I made $100 million in one business, and then took the $100 million and flipped it. I want y'all to see his face.
Put the work in. This is.
You can't go to England. You can't go to India. You can't go to Asia and see them individuals. When they get bread, it's for them and their babies. And everybody else getting their neck stepped on. This man is here in an auditorium telling thousands of people, yo, this is what I did to make $100 million. And I'm going to give you the blueprint. You see his face? Where I tell you he came from? The hood of Tampa. So once again, our people in the Congo, they don't have access to this, yo. Our people in Soweto, South Africa, they don't have access to this. Let me show you what they have access to. Hold on, let me show you. This is how we do it. We put our people in the room. We just put our people in the room. I know if I could get all of the people in my network in a room, if we could just get in the room, individuals going to be inspired and individuals going to get to work. We put them in the room. All of these millionaires, we put them in the room. For a room, 1,300 people who saying, yo, I want to play on the team. This is what we putting on the table for 2020, for these leagues, for this network. We saying, listen, March 8th through March 16th, we getting in a room and we gonna pick our ownership, partnership teams in each city. Then we're going to have combines, draft day. In the summer, we're going to do a 6-week camp. developmental camp, and all of the listen, we got the schedule mapped out. January is time for us to raise the bread, the initial bread to just get us in the game. And the rest is over from there. Pretty clear, pretty straightforward, y'all. All right, so I'm going to show y'all Morocco, and I'm going to show y'all Nigeria. All right. Morocco and Nigeria. Morocco is a place in North Africa. It's the headquarters for doing what Jay-Z is doing for the Russian billionaire and for Rick Rubin and Lawyer Cohen. It's the birthplace of where so-called black Africans sell out their brothers and sisters on the continent to the Europeans. Morocco is the headquarters of that. And Nigeria is the headquarters for where just the people of the continent themselves sell out their brothers and sisters to the Europeans. See, in Morocco, they transplanted the people of the continent for so-called Arabs. So the Europeans moved down into Morocco and took possession of Morocco and made that the headquarters for launching into and the slave trade and the devouring. The thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, devouring our continent. Morocco and Nigeria is proof that everybody who look like you ain't on your team. And when you finally learn that, you can start playing this game and winning. When you stop celebrating individuals that clearly have demonstrated that they are against you and they have made investments to bet against you, your wife, your children, and your future prosperity. Once you understand that people who look just like you, who come from where you come from the continent, come from your city, come from your hood, claim to come from your culture, have invested with those who are betting against your future, have invested in the perpetual slavery. This is what Morocco and Nigeria represent. Here is Morocco. That is who Jay-Z is.
At Rabat Central Bus Station, behind his gates at Rabat Central Bus Station, a young migrant from Senegal was knifed to death on August 12.
A young migrant from Senegal. Y'all better start learning your continent. Not the labels that they gave you in 1885 when they went to Germany and carved up and called it Africa. Senegal is the White Nile. The Queen of the South, Ethiopia, Queen of Sheba, is the birthplace, the womb of the Nile. The Blue Nile starts in South Africa, right at Ethiopia. And the Nile flows upriver from the south of the continent to the north. And the southern tip of the Blue Nile in Ethiopia is called North. And the top where it exits into the Mediterranean Sea is called South, because it flows from the bottom to the top. And because the Queen of the Nile is the crown jewel of the continent. And in the middle of that Nile River that the Most High God identified, his queen who would judge this final generation would come from. The Queen of Sheba would judge this final generation. So all of the people along that Nile are the people connected to that queen. And those are the people who the Moroccans and the Nigerians have always put under threat in the East and in the West. The children of that same queen, Cush, us, are the children who are under threat. Well, y'all failed to realize that the word of God tried to warn y'all. There are two brothers named Gog and Magog. And Cush ain't the only people of color out here. Gog and Magog are the descendants of Cain after the flood. The Germanic Romans came from Magog. They get Pontifex Maximus. The Maximus comes from Magog. And the black Greeks, you know, the boulets that y'all go to college and join, the black Greeks. The Greeks wasn't never European. The boule is the boule because the boule has always been the black Greeks' Gog. And when you mess around and you look upon Gog as your family member, instead of separating yourself and identifying with the Queen of Sheba and stay into the world, we come from Cush. That's when you play yourself. See, because Magog is going to tell the world, black folk include their brother, their henchman, Gog, who has been paid to enslave Cush. And when you allow them to label Cush and Gog as niggas, Cush and Gog as Negro, as black, as African, as African American, you play yourself, because Gog don't have no allegiance to you. Gog hates Cush. Gog loves Magog. And when you go to Revelation 20, the Most High God tells you in the lake of fire, them same two brothers is going to be defiant, and the kingdom of the Most High God is going to come down, and they still going to be trying to destroy Cush. And they're going to say, come, let's take the city. And Cush has already been rewarded as being God's child in Revelation 20. And they're going to try and go to war and lead every lost soul that has ever lived to take the kingdom of the Most High God. And that's when the lake of fire descends on Gog and Magog. Y'all can identify with black Greek culture if y'all want to. The word of God already tells you they never going to turn back. They're always going to defy. When the word of God says, come out of her, my people, he's talking about the black Greek culture. He's talking about the European culture. He's talking about the Moors. He's talking about the Hebrew Israelites. He's talking about the Nation of Islam. He's talking about Islam. He's talking about Hinduism. He's talking about Buddhism. Everything that ain't Cush. Because everything descended from Cush, everything can return and be grafted back into Cush and be in that kingdom, representing Cush. You cannot come out and defy the order of the Most High God and win. Oh, you can be in the kingdom as a Cushite. Be about your brother's keeper. Everything else, and they gonna prove it to you. All right. So I said all that. The Senegal are our brothers and sisters in the Sudan. That's the middle of the Nile. That is Cush. That has always been Cush. They know that they are Cush. And the people catching hell all over the east are Cushites. The Arabs, the Moors, the Turks. All of these artificial names that the Europeans gave them when they carved up Africa, they all have enslaved and are trying to eradicate and wipe out Cush. So it's a migrant crisis going on because they always got civil wars going on in Cush's homeland. Wherever Cush lives, they descend, the Europeans, the Arabs, the Catholics, the West, they descend, they cause civil war, they send in their guns, the British, the US, they send in their war machine, and they scatter Cush. So these people from Senegal is all the way up in North Africa. Senegal is the eastern border of Africa on the Nile River, and they're all the way up in the northern tip of Africa, the northwestern tip of Africa, on the tip of Spain and Portugal is where Morocco is. So the migrant crisis is so bad that they have crossed the whole continent. They've crossed as migrants through the Sahara Desert, running through the Sahara Desert on foot. These, our brothers and sisters, are catching hell so bad at home that they would rather walk through the Sahara Desert because they think in the Western world it's going to be different for them. This is what everybody in the continent thinks, not knowing that the Germans of Adolf Hitler are the 10 tribes of Europe. They're Germanic barbarian tribes. And our people have not been educated that the very ones who are exploiting you and destroying you, you're trying to run to them as a safe haven. And our brothers and sisters have crossed the Sahara Desert and they get to the tip to Morocco because it's the easiest land crossing into Europe. And look at the hell they're catching. Because they are Cush. This is Nazi Germany. This is fascism. This is apartheid. These are skinheads. This is the KKK. Every single race bigotry that you have ever heard, experienced in slavery, this is what is being exhibited to our brothers and sisters because our people have never ended apartheid. Our people have never silenced the Nazi, fascist, Hitler regime. Our people have never. They told you the U.S. got independence from the Confederate rebels, the KKK of the South. They ain't gained no more independence than Cush has gained independence from the Moors.
He lived in this poor neighborhood of the Moroccan capital. Here, like in many other Moroccan cities and towns, migrants hailing from sub-Saharan Africa face daily acts of violence.
I went out.
Here, in many Moroccan cities, the Cushites from sub-Saharan Africa endure daily acts of violence. That ain't the KKK. This ain't Adolf Hitler.
To buy something, so I saw three guys, three Moroccans, and they attacked me.
3 Moroccans. This is the Arabs. Do you know that the original Moors who went up into Spain were from Senegal? The original Moors who handed Africa to the Germans were from West Senegal. See, the greatest of the kings of the East have always been in the East. East Senegal and West Senegal. And the individuals from Western Senegal made the same trek in 700 AD and went up and built Europe from 700 AD to 1500 AD. Dark as this dude right here. Europe was a wasteland. No roads, no castles, no cathedrals, no schools, no economy, no science, no military might. These dudes went up there and built Europe. Then Europe became a civilization. Then they came back down into Africa and ran a slave trade from the 1500s to present day. And now they brothers and sisters who are common people. You gotta understand. The original Moors who brokered the deal with them, they were the chiefs, the nobles. When you come into our hood, the application is the Jay-Z's, the NAACPs, the governors, the congressmen. They go and they broker the deal with the Germans and they sell out the common people. They brothers and sisters who look just like them. They sons and daughters who look just like them. The only difference is they made oaths that binded themselves as royal, as the upper class, as the nobles to the Germans in Europe. Everybody else is commonwealth. Goyim, the sheeple.
With a knife. They took my phone and some of my money.
Kingsley told us he felt lucky as he only suffered superficial knife wounds, but he said racism was rampant.
Racism is rampant.
Racism, yeah, in Morocco. They don't like we blacks. We don't have right for many things. You can't sit, you can't talk to a woman.
You can't sit, you can't talk to a woman. That's Emmett Till. 2020, that's Emmett Till. Walked from Chicago, went down to the South, went into a store. They claim he flirted with a white woman. They killed him, mutilated him. Emmett Till. And then you got people in the United States of America talking about Moorish Science Temple. Talking about the Moors. You got people of color in our community, because we ignorant, they brokering the same deals to keep Donald Trump and his bigotry in office, thriving.
Talk to a woman. It's not allowed here in Morocco. They don't give out job to black people. Even if you have the qualification, even if you are capable of doing the job, they can't give the job to you for a black man here in Morocco.
His outrage over constant discrimination is shared by many other migrants.
They call us monkeys when we were all equals. We have the same red blood flowing in our veins.
Even women spit when we walk by.
For local anti-racist groups, Moroccans tend to openly abuse black Africans due to the government's discriminatory treatment of migrants.
You're in a country where the government very much targets black, sub-Saharan, illegal immigrants down to the...
You're in a country where the government targets. Morocco is the headquarters of Nazi Germany in the north. And South Africa is the headquarters of apartheid Nazi Germany in South Africa. This is what you're watching. Present day Nazi Germany thriving.
Very words used to describe them.
Même le vocabulaire qui va être utilisé si les migrants sont...
Immigrants are always linked to prostitution, AIDS, drugs and human trafficking. I think this plays an important role. Institutional racism influences the local population.
Faced with increasing racist attacks, some migrants, illegal or not, are now thinking of returning home, even at the cost of feeling ashamed over their failure to make it abroad.
The irony of Arab bigotry is Arabs were created. Arabs are the offspring of the same Senegalese and the same Germans. The Arab population was created from 700 AD to 1500 AD by these same people sleeping with these people's ancestors. And these brown, tan, skin color Arabs are the offspring of the Senegalese that they're claiming that they're bigots to, and Germans, and the Most High God said the iron will not mix with the clay. The one drop rule that Europe has acknowledged, that if you have one drop of Cush semen, or if you come through a Cushite womb, it don't matter if you were a German king, you're Cushite. Says the word of God. Daniel chapter 2. The iron will not mix with the clay. I am the iron, you are the clay. The clay is created in my image, after my likeness. Created he them, the clay. And then he identified the lands of the clay and the birthright of the womb that the one drop rule identifies in Genesis 2. The land of Cush is Eve's birthright promised land. They bigots to their own parents. The bigotry is because of the envy of not being dominant. But that's ignorance. Because the one drop rule states, one drop, you're a part of the family. So if they weren't ignorant, they would just claim the proper family. They would just claim the proper birthright and get into the kingdom. But because they're ignorant, because they reject the kingdom, but they want the prosperity of the children of the kingdom, so they hate the children. They're envious of the children when the Most High God said, you are a part of this family, because Cain don't have the ability to produce. Only the Cush birthright can produce after my image and after my likeness. That's why the one drop rule is in effect. That's why the Most High God said the iron will not mix with the clay. So for all of my Europeans out there, if you just change your perspective, if you stop buying into the Aryan lie, and you understand that you can't fight this fight against the Most High God, but most importantly, you got access to just claim the family and then do what the family does. You take care of the least of these, our brethren. You don't exploit them. You set them free. You don't kill them. We spread love, not hate. We build, not destroy. We invest, we don't steal. We procreate, we don't kill. If you just change your perspective, if you stop listening to the fallen and the lawless and embrace the chosen and the flawless, then we could wrap this thing up sooner than you think. But if y'all stay on this, we're going to prove to you. Every line I just told you, we're going to prove it to you. We're going to show you every single blessing and every single deposit of power that has ever been given to this family line. We about to unleash it. And either you could be a part of the family, or you can stand against the family and get what every nation, kindred, tongue, and people has ever gotten when they stood up against the right arm of the Father. Our people ain't about to endure this no more.
Behind his gates at Rabat Central Bus Station, a young migrant from Senegal was knifed to death on a...
Y'all want to talk about, these Christians want to talk about Israel? Holy Land? Israel is identical to Morocco. Everything I just said about Morocco applies to Israel.
Since 2006, about 60,000 Africans have arrived in Israel on harrowing treks through the Sinai Desert, fleeing poverty, persecution, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. As refugee camps across Africa fill up and Europe closes its gates to asylum seekers, Israel became the next best option.
Europe closes its gates. You can't get through Morocco to Europe. They cross through the Sinai Desert. All over the continent, they are crushing our people, scattering our people. And because the West keeps claiming, because you're fake, phony, spiritual Christian right, and fake, phony, evangelical Christian left, middle, center, I don't care where you come from. Tell this notion that that's the Holy Land. Our people believe it, not knowing that's the Germans. The Rothschilds created Israel after World War II. The Rothschilds. Germans. Occult. Germans. The bankers that have funded all of the revolutions. The murderers of Europe, of every continent, the Rothschild family, Germans. This is historical fact. Oh, because they claim that they converted to becoming fake Hebrews? That makes them holy. That didn't make the original Hebrews holy. When they rejected the king and chose the occult leading Caesar to kill the King of Kings, did that make them holy then? How can Germans claiming to be Hebrews make them holy now? Y'all just explain to me how y'all got there. We ain't there. Y'all tell me how a German family, and Donald Trump is doing the same thing. It's a German family of murderers, barbarians, and all of these supposed spiritual individuals are rallying around the same identical actions that the Rothschilds have done, and they set up a kingdom, and now Donald Trump is trying to set himself up over the United States of America. It's not happening, homie. It's not happening, homie. You wasting your time here, bro. But this is what God means when by their fruits ye shall know them. And when you blindly still just follow the same narrative that deceivers are putting out there. When you let this go unchallenged, when you don't expose it, all of that. And then worse than that, you let these clowns come over to every nation, every kingdom and set up banking institutions, set up businesses. You let them set up law firms. You let them set up educational institutions. You let these same Rothschild fake Hebrews go all over the world and own everything. Record labels, Hollywood studios, the diamond mines, the oil, they in every single industry. Because they claiming that they the holy people. Prove it. We the chosen people. We got the birthright. How you prove it is, you got to set up your own banking system. David did not go to the Philistines to have the Philistines print his money. He didn't go to get loans from Goliath. How ignorant is that? David didn't go to the Philistines to make his chariots, to build his castle, to build the temple of God. He didn't go to the Philistines for nothing. So why are you still content to go to the Europeans for jobs, for education, for your food? You let them produce your food. Whoever produces your food owns you, yo. Whoever owns the food supply, like if our people do not get into being sowers of your own estates, harvesting and controlling what goes into your bodies. And this is why God allows y'all to be sick. He who destroys the temple, him what God I destroyed. And you allow an enemy to control. That don't even make sense. These are all sub-industries. These are all revenue streams that come out of the one revenue stream of the leagues that we take control of. When you take control of the league, you launch your own fashion industries. When you take control of the league, you launch your own media. When you take control of the league, you launch your own banking system. When you take control of the leagues, you purchase your own estates. We're not going to use their facilities. When you open your own leagues, your people got to eat. You plant your own crops. You open your own stores. You build your own hospitals. You provide your own transportation networks. Airplanes, trains, vehicles. You build the schools that will ensure that every last one of these businesses, ain't no general electives. Every school teaches hard skills and soft skills. The soft skills are the service that goes back and repairs the damage done to our brothers and sisters. That's the soft skills. The hard skills is the skills that it takes to produce everything that I'm telling you. And we've invested in every single last one of these streams. We have the best in the world in place in every single stream. I'm not telling you what we want to do. I'm telling you what we've done over the past 14 years since I landed here in Orlando, Florida. 2006 to 2020. And over the next 14 years, just like Snoop did, instead of launching a league that extracts in the Snoop Football League, we're going to launch pro leagues that invest. Over the same 14 years. Just to prove everything that I've just said in this thing. And the reason I'm saying it to you like this, so emphatically, is because I want you to be at the table, and I want your family to be able to break the generational curses of poverty by partnering with us. Because the more of us that partner, we can bring every last one of the cities where our brothers and sisters are online. I'm no longer content to just do the work in a city that I'm physically at. No, my brothers and sisters need to come online. And we need to bring every city that my brothers and sisters is in online, identically. We're not content to just do this in Chicago for 10 years and then move to Orlando and then move to... No. Every one of these cities where we at. We not waiting for 5 years down the road. Right now.
Accessible by land and said
this
to
is
be a
ridiculous.
developed democracy. But instead of providing them with safe haven, Israel is both refusing to grant them any benefits and denying them the ability to work legally to support themselves.
These are Germans.
Faced with poverty and exploitation, a new nightmare unfolded.
It is not too late. We can take action tomorrow. Understand, the Rothschilds are Germans. Listen, we not dealing with none of that propaganda. When Adolf Hitler speak, Adolf Hitler speak. Ain't no propaganda going out here. Start rounding up the infiltrators. We do not need to wait for the Supreme Court. We don't need to follow no law. We don't need no law. They are Kush. We are Germans. They are Abel. We are Cain. Cain sheds the blood of Abel every time. The migrants came asking, aren't you your brother's keeper, Holy Land? Aren't you your brother's keeper? And they are saying, no, we are Cain's children. You are Adam and Eve's children. We are children of the snake by choice. We don't need to wait for anything. Round them up tomorrow morning. Outside my house, I see SHIT, spit, and psychopaths. That's y'all women. This is what German women, this is how they get down. But then they're gonna tell you this is the picture of beauty. This is why you gotta own the fashion. This is Revlon. This is Max Factor. This is New York Fashion Week. Paris Fashion, London Fashion, Tokyo Fashion Week. This is Fashion Week. Just waiting for the chance to murder me. All right, how do you know they're waiting for the chance to murder you? You can see it in their eyes. Oh, this is straight out of the textbook of the buck who wants to rape white women. This is straight out of the textbook that they programmed in the minds of the people who killed Emmett Till. This is in the so-called Holy Land. So now you see what the Holocaust was. Now you see what the Holocaust was in Germany. All this time they told you a Holocaust happened to Europeans. You are seeing with your own, in 2020, eyes, hearing with your ears, what happened in Europe. Europe was remember, the Word of God told you at the day of Pentecost, where God poured out His Holy Spirit, that His children were in this same land from under every nation under heaven observing Passover. So first of all of those European images of biblical figures, this is letting you know that the Europeans were not anywhere in the Word of God at that time. And that text also lets you know that God's children had been blessed to be able to be prosperous in every nation under heaven. And they were returning back to the Holy Land then. And His apostles came out of the upper room with the Holy Ghost and spoke to every nation under heaven in whatever language of the land that they spoke in. And they left and went back to their lands with the Holy Spirit for the first time. And those who maintained that deposit of the Holy Ghost and kept following that gospel thrived in every nation under heaven from that time until this very day. And in 1913, 1900 years after the Holy Ghost was poured out, those people were still all over Europe. But the Moors were also there. The fake Hebrews, the Romans who stopped persecuting that movement and then converted to Christianity in Europe. You got fake Christians, fake Hebrews. You got Moors, which is Islam. And then you have the individuals who were thriving in every nation under heaven, says the Word of God. So we know that the Moors, after the 1500, went back down into Africa and started the slave trade. The Spanish went west, started the slave trade. And those fake Catholics and those fake European Hebrews, fair skin and dark skin, and in between mulattoes and every shade of rainbow, all collectively got together in 1933 and decided that they were going to rid the earth and rid Europe of all of the descendants of Cush who weren't fake Hebrews, fake Catholics. And this is what you're seeing right here today. You ain't a fake Hebrew like we are. You are those original descendants of Cush. So we are going to respond the way that we always respond to your presence. All throughout history, we have always responded this way to those with the birthright. The Philistines came upon the people with the birthright. The Egyptians came upon the people with the birthright. The Babylonians came upon the people with the birthright. Greece and Rome came upon the people with the birthright. All throughout history. Cain descended and killed Abel. This is the response that you're seeing. This is the response that the British did in the United States under the label of the Confederacy, under the label of slavery. The British are the Germans who came over here as Christians with the same bigotry that you're seeing, with the same persecution, with the same name calling. Saying they subhuman, worthy of death, worthy of, this is the, come on y'all. Well, but because they said they was Christians. Because they came carrying the Bible. So what, these cats carry the Talmud. So what? Some people carry the Quran. They still came.
But nobody believes us. You're racist. We're racist. We're racist because we want to preserve our lives and our sanity.
No, you're racist because you're ignorant. Claiming an identity that is a masquerade for Romans who could not defeat the King of Kings head up. So had to put on a masquerade of being Hebrews to tap into the prosperity. And because you're ignorant is why you're a racist. And it's our right. So I'm proud to be a racist. And it's our right to be a racist. Holy Land? Just they words, yo. Just they actions to God's children. Because of their skin color. I ain't shoot this video.
While protests raged in the streets against the presence of a
And here's the truth about Cush. Here's the truth about Cush. When Rome had an opportunity to go head up,
Hannibal is a Carthaginian aristocrat from the Barcid family, who are a significant family in Carthage.
He's talented, he has grit, he has perseverance. Hannibal is one of the...
Once again, when y'all let them tell your story, this is why we create film studios. Hannibal was a man of God. So when Daniel asked for the children of Israel to be able to go back home, God revealed to Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel, through Daniel, that when the fourth kingdom, the Roman kingdom, and the Grecian kingdom He said, they are going to be put in solitary confinement. Just like I put the Canaanites. While Cush had access to all of the lands in the east and South Africa, West Africa, North Africa, Cush set up kingdoms all over Africa. The Canaanites were on solitary confinement in the small little land that God then took from them and gave to Abraham. So in Genesis 9, God declared, I'm going to put the Canaanites in solitary confinement. No Canaanite will ever venture outside the borders of the lands of the solitary confinement that I put them in. Genesis chapter 9. And in Daniel chapter 2, God places the same solitary confinement on Greece and Rome forever. Greece, Rome, and then Europe. The legs and thighs of brass was Greece. The legs of iron was Rome, pagan Rome. And then the feet and the toes of iron mixed with clay. You got 10 toes. You had 10 Germanic tribes. France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Britain, Russia, Soviet Union, Poland. You had 10 toes. And then in Daniel chapter 2, God said, that iron and clay, I already told Job that the clay is my people. And I already told Cain that cursed be the ground of Cain for shedding the blood of Abel. And Cain was branded the iron people. And God said the iron will not mix with the clay. And he said the iron will never be a world dominating power. Because I told Cush, you will have dominion. And because Nebuchadnezzar was a descendant of Cush, the Babylonian Empire stretched way further. Because they wasn't in solitary confinement. The Assyrian Empire had no boundaries when they ruled the world. The Medes had no boundaries when they ruled the world. The Persians had no boundaries when they ruled the world. The moment that Greece comes on the scene, because Greece and Rome are the descendants of Cain, and because Cain shed the blood of Abel, just like Ham had violated his father and got his son Canaan cursed. Solitary confinement. Cain kills Abel. God curses and curses the land and puts boundaries on the land and the wanderings of the 10 tribes of Europe and on Greece. He said Greece would have 4 heads. 4 is land. The solitary confinement would be carved up between 4 specific generals and 4 specific blocks of land. The very first time God put a boundary around a nation that was trying to be a global power. And the only reason why Greece never was a global power was because of that verse in Daniel. The only reason why Rome was never a global, meaning Rome never ruled India and Asia and the US, Hawaii, Australia, these continents. Rome never penetrated because of a verse in Daniel. Did they try? Yep. Are they still trying? Yep. But as long as you and I exist, and as long as you and I claim our covenant, the iron will never mix with the clay. can they deceive our people and fake and bluff as if they rule? That's exactly what's happening all over the world. Our people don't know that as soon as they stand up, they will be sent scurrying back to their solitary confinement. Every time one of the kings of Cush return to their covenant, you can't find a time where they say, you know what, I can go back to my father's house. I can go back to my father's love. And every time the overseers were overthrown, the lands returned back to the children of Cush, prosperity returned, fruitfulness returned, abundant life returned. I'm telling y'all the blueprint. And I'm saying, let's put it in place right now. I'm saying, from today to March the 8th, let's put these teams in place. Let's put these streams in place. Let's put you on these teams. And let's do what our ancestors have always done. Our ancestors, when they're in the position that we in, they say, listen, God, you did this in the past. Right here, during this time with this king took these steps to show the people how to get back. To show the people. And when he did that, you did this, and this, and this. Well, you said, if my people, you said, I am no respecter of person. I'm claiming I'm your people. You said, you know, you the same yesterday, today, and forever. Well, if you accepted Hezekiah's offering and blessed him, when I take these people in 2020 through the Hezekiah blueprint, you gotta move the same way, yo. When we put these teams on the field and we make this investment, you gotta bless this investment, yo. When we faithful in handling our business, you gotta make these streams of revenue grow. And we're gonna dedicate them back to you by taking a portion of each one of these streams and quadrupling the amount of people that we take through this process. Each and every one of us who is set free and made whole, we're going to go back and we're going to set free and make whole 8 other people. The same streams that's put into our life. The same talents that this professional business cycle has allowed me to take my raw talents, instead of them being squandered and wasted, have turned them into a gold rush. I'm going to go find 8 other people. And I'm personally going to transform and do the same thing with these 8 and bring them on this team and do the same thing with that 8. And they're going to go do the same thing forever. That's our motto.
Hannibal is one of the few enemies Rome have that they actually respect and idolize, and that is a lot because of his tremendous achievement.
Look at your ancestors who maintained the barrier and proved what God said 500 years ago to Daniel. Rome is not going to extend past the boundaries that I set in place on Greece. I said Greece would not expand past these 4 headquarters. And when Rome took over from Greece, Rome never got outside of those borders. And when they tried to, these men stepped up. Hannibal stepped up, put them back in line. Your main man, Genghis Khan, stepped up. Nah, y'all can't come down into Asia. Nope. God set your boundary right there at the border of Germany. Y'all ain't coming no further than Russia. All throughout history, because God 500 years ago wrote down in Daniel, it's documented, yo. That's why the fake Hebrews